Sure.
Welcome, listeners. I'm Melody Sinclair for FGC Radio. I'm here with Red McCano. You're listening to How Much in Bison. Before we begin the show, we just wanted to take a moment to address an incident that occurred during the May 6th broadcast. Our guest, Groppler Moore, made the unfortunate mistake of using inappropriate that does not reflect the values of professionalism and respect that we strive to maintain on FGC Radio. We understand the impact of such language and sincerely regret any offense or discomfort it may have caused to the FGC Radio community. As a station, we take full responsibility and recognize that we must set a positive example in the broadcasting world. We want to assure you listeners of our commitment to ensuring this will never happen again. Our talented audio engineers have developed a profanity delay system for our broadcasts, featuring live censoring. All on-air personalities are required to complete a series of language sensitivity learning modules before the air. Thank you for allowing me to address this matter. FGC Radio is committed to regaining your trust and will strive to improve in the future. Red?
Yeah. What you said. The censoring thingy's working?
Is the PDS on? It's working.
Yeah. Did that work?
It worked, Red. We can't hear it, but the listeners will.
Tyler? That's Tyler. Awesome.
Okay, settle down. It's a safety net. You're not supposed to do it purposefully. We're supposed to hope that we never actually have to use the safety net.
Oh.
Tyler Durden.
Yeah, okay.
Great. Would you like to get things started?
Yeah, sure. You're listening to How Much in Bison Dollars. Tariffs! Again, it went exactly the way I predicted it would. Representatives from America and Shadaloo met. Tariffs between Shadaloo and America were delayed, and then announced again last month when the American president announced tariffs against the entire world. Apparently, they're going into effect at the end of June for realsies this time. 20% tariffs against Shadaloo. My government responded again, this time with a threat of 40% retaliatory tariffs against America. And I just wanted to take a moment to point this out. Since all of this started, there's been a certain flavor of news article that I've been seeing more and more of. Like this one titled, Note to Shadaloo, Stay calm, don't retaliate.
I have seen a few of them on my social media feeds too.
The absolute gall of any economic journalist or blogger trying to tell Shadaloo to just accept the bullying from America without recourse. It's disgusting. It's a disgrace. If you have a problem with the tariffs Shadaloo will impose on America, and we will impose them, try appealing to your own government to halt its tariffs against us. You live in a democracy, right? Maybe you vote them away. Vote for people who don't like tariffs. You Americans love voting. It sounds to me like enough of you don't like these tariffs. Just vote them out. Vote them away. Just vote. Do some democracy or whatever.
I'm actually going to the polls right after today's broadcast, Red. We'll have this all cleared up by dinner time. Now, how about you tell us about this week's global exchange rates?
Yeah, sure. Kicking off this week's global exchange rates, we have pound sterling, 0.198 USD to Bison dollars, 0.149. The Japanese yen, 0.001 V-Bucks, 0.001 also. The Thai baht, 0.004. The Jamaican dollar, 0.001. The Philippine peso, 0.003. The Russian ruble, 0.002. The Aruban florin, 0.083. And the Canadian dollar, 0.108.
Join us in the studio to recap his return from the Netherrealm and to answer a few questions from you listeners. But for now, here's This Is True Love Makin' from Capcom vs. SNK2.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back, comrades. You're listening to How Much in Bison Dollars on FGC Radio. Joining us now in the studio, esports correspondent Samson Escapades. Samson, it's great to have you back.
Great to be back, Red, and I'll get into that in a moment, but before I do, there's something that I wanted to address first. Melody, you have been disrespecting my heritage and pronouncing my name incorrectly.
Have I? Samson Escapades, is that correct?
No, that is not correct. It's Escapades, like how you pronounce Des Moines, Iowa.
I'd rather try to avoid Des Moines personally, but I'll try to remember that. Shall we get back to Samson's Escapades?
As you'll recall, the portal I entered the Netherrealm from only seemed to work the one way. You could enter the Netherrealm through it, and if there was some way to leave back through it, I couldn't figure it out, and neither could Tum, my Oni guide. He decided to stick it out with me, and I'm thankful for that. It turns out that Tum used to guide raiding parties out into the wastes. He'd heard rumors of an underground temple about a day's walk outside Necros. Escaping the city was difficult, since the swarming undead were just outside the walls, but Tum knew a secret route that led to a section outside the city limits the undead couldn't reach. Unfortunately, it meant scaling the side of a mountain that would have meant my death if I had plummeted 200 feet into a pit of lava down below.
And here I thought that team building exercise we did at the wall climbing gym last year wouldn't come in handy.
You didn't have to go to that, Red. We did.
I was there, spiritually, but please, go on, Samson.
There isn't much to say about the Netherrealm wastes. There are a lot of rocks, fire, and smog. After a few hours, it all just kinda blends together. I'm glad Tum knew where we were going, because I'm not sure I could have navigated to our destination adequately. Speaking of, a raiding party of Oni occupied the underground temple. They captured us, executed Tum, and decided to hold me hostage for ransom. I could only pick up a few words and phrases from what little Tum had taught me of his language.
How much were they thinking of?
I don't think it ever got that far into discussion. It turned out the temple was also the worshipping ground for a convent of wraiths. They returned to the temple a few days later and found us all there. While the two factions fought, I escaped deeper into the temple. I don't know how long I was down there, in the darkness, with only the flashlight function of my cell phone to keep me falling further into the depths of the cave. I came across a chamber with ancient runes inscribed on the walls. It appeared to be the burial site of a former elder god of death. I couldn't catch everything. Have you ever noticed that Google Translate just isn't as good as it used to be?
Oh my god,
Absolutely.
yeah,
I feel
it's
like
the
it barely
freaking
works
worst!
Anyway, I think the portal I activated was meant to transport the spirit of the fallen god into the next realm of existence. Apparently that next realm of existence is right into the Shadowloo Bay, about a half-mile off the coast of Utsumi.
Not exactly the afterlife I'd imagine for a god, but what do I know?
Indeed. And then, there was still the matter of returning to FGC headquarters, here in Opossum City. I had made this trip 1,000 times before, but I was prevented from entering the country this time.
You were detained. You were placed in a holding cell.
Despite the atypical nature of time and space in the Netherrealm, I was technically stuck in a holding cell in America longer than I was stranded and kidnapped in the Netherrealm. I might add that I was treated with more dignity and respect by murderous Oni in the Netherrealm than by America's ICE, even though my Oni captors likely would have eaten me once they realized they could not reach anyone to ransom me off to. They still had the decency to treat me well. In America, I was handcuffed in a holding cell for an entire day without food or water. 3 more days in solitary confinement after that. My passport was up to date. My work visa was up to date. My journalist credentials were in order. All my documentation was in order.
And it's worth mentioning that this isn't an isolated incident either. For the last couple of months, tourists, journalists, and many traveling workers from countries like Germany, Canada, Shadowloo, Latveria have all been having an increasingly difficult time trying to enter the United States legally. They've had their credentials taken, they've been held without charge, they've been roughed up, they've been mistreated, they've been deported, some have been detained for months. Now, obviously, you made it out of there, Samson. You're here with us now in the studio. How were you finally able to get out of U.S. immigration lockup?
When I got out of solitary, my cellmate was a guy named Tim. 1 vowel, 1 M. He'd heard rumors of an underground temple about 3 miles away that we could go to if we could just escape.
I'm sorry we have to cut you off, Samson, but we have just enough time for our listeners to ask you.
Don't forget, you can always reach us with your questions, requests, and dedications via social media at HMI Bison Dollars and use the hashtag BisonDollarsQRD. What do you got for us, Melody?
Destiny is Destiny FGC look like in other parts of Shadaloo?
Well, Great Gadzuki, outside of Shadaloo City, there are two other major Destiny is Destiny scenes, one in North Shadaloo and the other in Bisonopolis. Many international players from various fighting game backgrounds end up in the arcades of Bisonopolis to try Destiny is Destiny for themselves. The scene does suffer some inconsistencies, though. You can always find a tournament or an event every weekend in Bisonopolis, but it's never the same event, and the same people never run it. There's no regular cast of mainstay players or tournament organizers. And then there's North Shadaloo. It is a small scene. I'm not exaggerating when I say their local FGC is the same 10 to 20 players competing in round-robin tournaments. They focus a lot on representing their cities. Unlike Shadaloo City and Bisonopolis, the northern scene spans the whole region, with events up and down the coast in Elizabeth, McDonough, Newman, and Julia. It's a very tight-knit community.
And Favorite on Blue Sky wants to know who our Destiny is Destiny mains are. Mine's Anong.
Anong? I've never seen you use Anong. I thought you were a Buck Washington main.
I only use Buck when I fight Haruka.
Okay. I use Flying Jenny. I love a good pirate.
And I, main Dr. Sexy. I see a lot of myself in him.
It's the massive collection of sunglasses, isn't it? Anything else you want to fit in before we go to break, Samson?
Registration for Lobby 2025 is open. The event will take place at Shoryu Wave on June 17th.
Thank you for joining us, Samson. Before we go to break, you're on FGC Radio? And where are you from?
Hey everyone, I'm Spiral, and I'm calling from Canada.
Ah, a friend from up north. What's up, Spiral?
I just wanted to make a song request. Can you play Feast of the Damned from Darkstalkers 3?
Absolutely. You're listening to How Much in Bison Dollars on FGC Radio. We'll be back soon, but for now, here's Feast of the Damned. Welcome back, listeners. Today we have a very special guest in the studio. He has run some of the most famous and infamous tournaments across the globe.
Suck it, flat earthers.
We're talking with Remy Muldoon.
Just Remy, if you could, please. Thank you. And thank you for having me on How Much in Bison Dollars, by the way. You know, I just want to start by mentioning that while I was in your green room, Samson and I got to catch up a bit before the show began. And, you know, Samson and I, we got our start around the same time. He's covered a lot of events that I've run. You know, especially back in Shadaloo. I mean, of course, you know, you didn't ask me to talk about any of those, but...
Oh, don't worry. We'll definitely get to some of those Shadaloo events one of these days, but since we're coming up on the next King of the Iron Fist tournament, we hoped you could provide some insight into how those tournaments work.
Oh, poorly. I ran the King of the Iron Fist tournament in, like, what, '09, I think it was? I was not there from the beginning, even though my name was in the credits. I was actually just a replacement. The original TO, he quit, just as qualifiers began. I never found out how they got my name or why they even picked me. I was barely doing any tournament work at the time at all. Mostly weddings, but you know, whatever. Big break, major corporate backing, near unlimited budget, international television exposure, and it was the worst friggin' experience of my life. I know. So look, there's mostly two different types of events like these. You're either working for a single host and cater to their specific whims and wishes or how they envision their tournament, or giant corporate gigs like this where you have to, you gotta like deal with CEOs and like boards of directors and like this endless hierarchy of producers and PAs.
That sounds like a lot to have to deal with.
Oh boy, let me tell you, there is a metric ton of pre-play. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Pardon my French. Can we cut that out? The devil caught me slipping. I apologize. There is a metric crap ton of pre-planning for the ladder because any last-minute, like real-time on-air changes have to filter through so many channels that it's usually just too late to change anything by the time you get an answer from anybody with any kind of authority. Like, for the most part, I was stuck following the outline that the previous TO had drafted, and this guy was a total idiot. I get to my hotel, and the tournament qualifiers are playing on the TV in the lobby, and I don't understand how they work. The commentary team doesn't understand how it works, and they keep saying things like, martial law, fair to qualify for the tournament. But then they keep feeding them opponents until he finally loses to Jim Kazama. Somehow, that means Jim qualifies for the tournament, and I still don't get it.
So I actually remember watching that round of the tournament, and I remember having no idea what was going on. Very confusing from the perspective of a spectator.
Let me tell you, it did not help the audience's perception of Jim. I don't have the official ratings, but I know that putting that qualifying round on TV lost viewers who would have otherwise tuned in, It's just plain and simple. And it only get worse from there. On my first official day on the job, I arrived with a list of changes I wanted to implement, primarily focused on, seeding and presentation of the bracket, and they didn't use a single one.
They went with random selection, right?
So here's the thing. The previous TO thought that presenting the illusion of randomly selected fights would be a good idea. It was supposed to create an illusion of Tyler, anything can happen at the King of the Iron Fist. It's cheap. Most random draws aren't really random. You might draw a garbage fight, and nobody wants to watch that. And there's just too much money being thrown around to put on a garbage fight on TV. So the fighters know ahead of time, and we know ahead of time. And again, it's just an illusion. It's a trick to get the crowd hype, so that when a fight is revealed, the crowd pops. It's cheap, but it works. Except the fights actually were randomly selected live on the air, and that's what led to the coup.
The what?
Yeah, I was in the exec box with several COs, the head of security, the high-ranking management staff, suits. The first match of round 2 is being drawn, and it's Jim Kazama versus Yoshimitsu. CEO Heihachi Mishima didn't like that, and he wanted to change the match, Live on air, guns are drawn, there's a shootout, thoughts and prayers to former Mishima Zabatsu head of security, Paul Milhouse. The son Kazuya Mishima takes over. He jails all the remaining fighters. Production staff is stalling the broadcast with ad breaks, interviews, roundtable discussions. Kazuya wants to hotshot a deathmatch gimmick into the rest of the tournament. And, literally, wants people to die, He wants people to die. Something I know we did not clear with the network, They're gonna lose their friggin' mind, So I tried to talk him out of it. I tried to reason with him. Nothing. Couldn't get through. So I walked.
You walked?
Yeah, I walked. What else am I going to do? I'm a tournament organizer. And Kazuya Mishima left me with nothing to organize. So I left the arena. I went to the Machinima, Zaibatsu payroll office. Collected my check. And I took the first flight home.
And everything ended up okay?
For me, for as much of a shit show as it was behind the scenes, on TV it looked fine. The ratings for your tournament were fine. People saw my name in the credits. I got work because of that tournament.
You planning on catching the next King of the Iron Fist event?
Nah, they've really gone downhill in the recent years. I think something like the last 3 tournaments didn't even have a winner. They were just so poorly ran.
Then, anything else you want to say before we say goodbye?
Actually, I'm writing the book. but I can't say too much about it right now. I can't. My lips are sealed. I can't say too much other than it's going to revolve around stories like these. So, how about you have me back again soon sometime and we can discuss it,
Looking forward to it, Remy. Thanks for joining us today. We'll be back with more How Much in Bison Dollars on FGC Radio. Here's track 2 from Bikini Karate Babes 2, Warriors of Elysium.
Welcome back, listeners. You're listening to How Much in Bison Dollars on FGC Radio. That was track 2 from Bikini Karate Babes 2, Warriors of Elysia. If you're just tuning in, you've caught us just in time to say goodbye.
And hey, thanks for putting up with our technical difficulties and faulty equipment today. We appreciate you. Coming up next, I'm going to let ChatGTP decide what happens for the next hour.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Also, it's ChatGPT. How Much in Bison Dollars is... We'll continue to stay free of any AI-generated content. Stay tuned for more FGC Radio. I'm Melody Sinclair.
And I'm Red McCano, Senior Executive Vice Senior President of Shadaloo's Department of Treasury. Gloria ad Pax Bisonica, and enjoy your day. Ha ha. Ha ha. How Much in Bison Dollars on FGC Radio is a How Much in Bison Dollars production brought to you by FGC Radio. You can follow FGC Radio on Blue Sky at FGC Radio. How Much in Bison Dollars on FGC Radio features music by TerribleBroseph. Broseph also portrays Remy Muldoon, T.O. extraordinaire. You can follow Broseph on both Twitter and TikTok at TerribleBroseph. The role of Red McCano was played by me, How Much in Bison Dollars. You can find me on most social media sites at HMI Bison Dollars, or finish the story mode with every character. Then go into survival mode with Hayate and play so you can put your name in the rankings. Enter the name EIN. Melody Sinclair was portrayed by Solstice Hannan. Solstice can be found on most relevant and some irrelevant social media sites at Darker Solstice. Samson Escapades was portrayed by Professor Tom of the Shujin Academy VGM Club podcast. You can follow the professor on Blue Sky at Shujin Academy and on Instagram at Shujin Academy VGM Club. You can listen to the Shujin Academy VGM Club podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. Spiral was portrayed by Ender. You can follow Ender on Blue Sky and Tumblr at Alekman108. Special thanks to FGC Radio for broadcasting this show, and thank you, comrades, for listening to it. How Much in Bison Dollars airs the first and third Tuesday of every month. Reruns of the broadcast can now be found on platforms like YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and wherever else you might enjoy listening to podcasts. This week's divination by Groppler Morn is 723750. Get closer. Actually, that's close enough. Thank you, and take care.